the same things that I know is that first, take a breath. I know it's like crazy stuff going on all around you. I'm fully aware of that. I'm fully aware that every time we look, there's something else like horrible that the crazy man with the orange hair is plotting. I'm fully aware of that. But just, think of a couple things. Take a breath. First of all, we're always talking about the 1% does this and the 1% does that, right? You know what I'm saying? We're like the 1% has all the money and 1%'s doing this, 1% is this. So what I'm trying to figure out if my math is correct, that means that we're the 99%, so why don't we act like it? You know what I'm saying? If we're the 99%, act like it. Take action. And don't only resist, but do what you're doing here is make good. Onishishin ijichige, onishishin ijichige. Make it beautiful. So how do we do that? You take down some dams. That's how you make it beautiful. You take down some dams, right? And not only do you fight the pipeline, but we got like a way better idea in our territory. We're going to get a bunch of renewable energy. My organization is working on a solar thermal manufacturing facility. We'll have operational by the spring. You do your local food. What I'm saying is you reduce the need to transport stuff. What I'm saying is you relocalize and you get efficient. That's the antidote. And that's the answer. Because you cannot sustain this globalization system. It's entirely predicated on access to cheap oil. So we have to decouple ourselves, and that's what we're doing in Mexico, talking about degrowth. You actually got to deconstruct because you cannot actually sustain that economic model, and do the right thing. So it is our opportunity to change it.
And my grandparents knew this was going to be a day and time that we would have to come together to fight back. There are prophecies to tell us and forewarn us that this day was going to come. They said water would be like gold. They said someday there's going to be the black snake that will flow through, polluting our water systems. And it's unfortunate that we, the seventh generation, have to experience this, but we were prepared. I was prepared. My elders raised me. They taught me the language and the culture and the history so that I would never forget. So that their sacrifices, their losses, their suffering, their pain would not be in vain. And so I stand with all of you, relatives, united as one Idaho family and guests who come in to help us in this great fight, to understand what it means to truly be of this land and to protect Mother Earth for what she is. You have great organizations fighting for our orca. Mother Earth has rights. Orcas should have rights. This may sound very radical, but mind you, as a businesswoman, someone who is also an economist looking out for jobs and the welfare of our future generations, we have to be mindful that we have to protect the environment first and foremost. If people want to be realistic, what will really help Idaho is saving our fish. We have the greatest advocate. And one of our ancestors who has now passed on, we called him Uncle Billy Frank. Many of us who knew him knew of his advocacy. He was a great champion. But before he passed on, he took me in and he taught me the ways, and he said, this is why it's important. They do so much for our mountains. These are our grandparents, he would say. And the water, you look at the water, how important that is to all of life. And then he would say, now the air. The salmon feeds the mountains to feed the trees, which produces clean air for us. Everything is connected. But you take out the anadromous fish, our salmon, you take that out of the equation of our health and welfare, then you imbalance the structure and you make sure that you defend it, because if you don't, you are taking away our children's future. Now, as a mother of two sons, I stand here on their behalf, because like my grandfathers, Chief Moses and Chief Kamaikan, who fought for this land, they fought for good reason. They were selfless people, compassionate leaders who knew better. They knew that they had to take on this mantle to fight for the people and the greater good for a reason. And even as a businesswoman today, I act out of selflessness to ensure that my future generations, all of our children, are able to prosper in the same way that they did. But we cannot get there together. As governor, one of my plans is to decommission these 4 Snake River dams. But we have to do it with our entire society together. People in the region will know that Idaho is a true leader. Once we fight to get to the governor's office, Washington, Oregon, California, Alaska, everyone in the Pacific Northwest will understand how truly valuable Idaho is in protecting our salmon population. We have a lot at stake here. So much so, we have a ton to lose. But if we continue to just sit idle and stay silent, nothing changes. Every time I hear one person say that my vote doesn't matter, it breaks my heart. Because if people say this does not impact me, how does this impact my children? How will this in fact improve my life if I vote for you? I will have to remind them that as a true champion and advocate of the people, raised by elders for the people, then they will truly see. But I don't want to get to November 6th and half of our population sits out again. Because Idaho loses every election cycle, every time people are thrown off by these empty lies, empty promises by the Republican Party in this state. Now, mind you, I don't care about the party system. I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. I am Idahoan. I am indigenous. I am from here of the land. The bones of my ancestors are here of this land. So my heart, my roots, the blood of my people is here. And I'm thankful and honored to have this privilege to stand before all of you just to say as much. Because what I ask of everyone here is, even if you're not from Idaho, if you're from Washington, you're from California, you're from Virginia, Oregon, it does not matter. You can help us here in Idaho, because this is ground zero. This right here, if you can change Idaho, you not only change the Pacific Northwest, you change the face of America. You will change the next generation for the better.